CMS market has been around for 20, 30 years now. And over the past decade, there have been a whole range of solutions that are out there that have got incredibly complex. And so for European companies that are looking for ways in which to drive simplification and faster time to market, a headless CMS like Storyblok really starts to change the game for those types of organizations. And the way in which it does that is a headless CMS is much easier to integrate with some of the existing marketing technology that your organization might have. Developers and marketers can start to work together far more effectively and in a more productive way, where marketers are empowered to drive changes on a website that doesn't always entail the involvement of a developer. And developers are then free to focus on really the areas of building a website in which they can add the highest level of value. Today, there's a growing desire to apply AI across the way that we deliver content and the way that we use AI as a tool within a CMS. Of course, though, in specific industries where there's a requirement for governance and compliance, some organizations want to be very specific about the way that they use an LLM within their technology environment and want to essentially utilize their own LLM plugged into an environment like a CMS. Totally understandable, because there they can control the nature of the responses themselves. So Storyblok was really been built with that in mind. When we first kicked off our first AI functionality and capability, as with many other technology providers, we centered our solutions around OpenAI and ChatGPT. But latterly, we now have opened it up to other LLMs, for example, Gemini. But more especially, we're enabling organizations to use their own LLMs in order that they can apply their own AI methodologies to within the context of creating digital customer experiences. The Model Context Protocol is really a way of ensuring you've got greater interoperability and context between the content that you have in your CMS and the way that it can be applied across a multitude of other systems. I think most marketers, most developers even, would recognize and agree with the fact that integration and the free flowing of information between differing systems has been repeatedly hard and often never delivered quite upon how it's been promised over the past. With Storyblok and MCP, then suddenly you've got this really succinct and easy way of being able to have interoperability between the content, the context of that, and the nature of that content, and the way you might want to apply it in other systems. For example, in an e-commerce environment. Well, look, I think one of the things we're starting to see right now is a disruption of the entire buyer's journey. Increasingly, we're seeing consumers start their buying journey not at the traditional search prompt that we've enjoyed and experienced over the past 2 decades, but now at an AI search prompt. And what that's actually doing is it's pulling away consumers from websites, because they're able to get the majority of the answers they're looking for right there and there. And so it's really upending the way we need to think about our website, the way we think about our paid media, and also thinking about the way that we drive content operations. In the past, content was very easy to produce and distribute it across websites. And sometimes that content, if left alone, might be there 2, 3, 4 years even. Now, in the past, that might not have mattered, but now it matters. And the reason being is that these AI search bots are essentially consuming content, whether it's fresh and new or 3 or 4 years old. But unfortunately, it's unable to distinguish which is actually the most accurate. And so now, in this new world, it's important, in fact, I'd say critical, that you're able to have greater control over the way that you maintain and run and execute and deliver content, such that you can ensure the accuracy and the way that it will represent your product, your service, or your brand. Well, Storyblok Labs is our environment for testing functionality that we think has got tremendous potential, but it's really earlier on in its development cycle. It's ready for use in a production environment, but we think as a capability, it's got a ton of potential. One that in particular excites me at the minute is AI translation. Translation and getting content into multiple languages quickly has been something that's been incredibly difficult to do. And so now AI translation has reached a point of quality, I would say, in which now as a brand, you can start to expose yourself to new markets that perhaps you've held back from because of fear of the cost and time and resource implications. So imagine now being able to move into markets like the French, the German, or the Japanese markets with incredible ease, and being able to take your website content and also the brand tone into those languages with really just a couple of clicks. It's an amazing opportunity.